Can you give instances of Arahants falling away from Arahantship? 55. Can you give instances of Arahants falling away from Arahantship? Did Sariputta? Or the great Moggallana? Or the great Kassapa? Or the great Kakayana? Or the great Kohita? Or the great Pandhaka? Of all you admit that they did not. Proof from the suttas. 56. Theravada. You say that an Arahant may fall away from Arahantship. But was it not said by the Exalted One? Both high and low the ways the learners wend. So hath the Holy One to man revealed. Not twice they fare who reach the further shore. Nor once alone that goal doth fill their thought. Hence you are wrong. 57. Again, is there to be a cutting of what has been cut? For was it not said by the Exalted One? He who with cravings conquered grasps at naught. For whom no work on self is still unwrought. Is need for cutting what is cut yet there? All perils swept away, the flood, the snare. 58. Again, your proposition implies that there is a reconstructing of what is already done. But this is not for the Arahant, for was it not said by the Exalted One? For such a brother rightly freed, whose heart hath peace, there is no building up again. Nor yet remaineth aught for him to do. Like to a rock that is a monolith, and trembleth never in the windy blast. So all the world of sights and tastes and sounds, odors and tangibles, yet, things desired and undesirable can ne'er excite a man like him. His heart stands firm, detached, and of all that he notes the passing hence. Hence there is no reconstructing what is already done. 59. Samataya, Vahipataya, Sabatthavadan, Masagika. Then our proposition according to you is wrong. But was it not said by the Exalted One? Bhikkhus, there are these 5 things which conduce to the falling away of a bhikkhu who is intermittently emancipated. Which are the 5? Delight in business, in talk, in sleep, in society, absence of reflection on how his heart is emancipated. Hence the Arahant may fall away. 60. Theravada. But does the Arahant delight in any of those things? If you deny, how can they conduce to his falling away? If you assent, you are admitting that an Arahant is affected and bound by worldly desires, which of course you deny. 61. Now if an Arahant were falling away from Arahantship, it would be, you say, because he is assailed by lust, or hate, or error. Such an attack, you say further, is in consequence of a corresponding latent bias. Yet if I ask you whether an Arahant harbours any one of the 7 forms of latent bias, sensuality, enmity, conceit, erroneous opinion, doubt, lust for rebirth, ignorance, you must deny such a thing. 62. Or if, in his falling away, he is, you say, accumulating lust, belief in a soul, doubt, or the taint of mere rule and ritual, these are not vices you would impugn an Arahant withal. 68. In fact you admit that an Arahant neither heaps up nor pulls down. Neither puts away nor grasps it, neither scatters nor binds, neither disperses nor collects, but that, having pulled down, put away, scattered, dispersed, so abides. Hence it surely cannot be said that an Arahant may fall away from Arahantship. Points of controversy. 1.3 of the higher life. Contract overt point. That there is no higher life among the Devas. 1. Theravada. You deny the practice of the higher life among Devas. Yet you deny also that they are physically, mentally, or morally defective. That they are, any of them, stupid, deaf and dumb, unintelligent, communicating by signs, and incapable of discerning the meaning of what is well or badly spoken. That they all lack faith in the Buddha, the doctrine, the order. That they did not attend the exalted Buddha. Ask him questions and delight in his answers. That they are all of them handicapped by their actions, by the corruptions, by the effect of their actions. That they are all faithless, devoid of purpose and understanding, incapable of reaching the right order of the path in things that are good. That they are matricides, parricides, murderers of saints, shedders of holy blood, schismatics. That they all take life, steal, are unchanged caste, liars, slanderers, revilers, idle talkers, given to covetousness, ill will and erroneous opinion. 2. Nay, you maintain on the other hand that they are, and practice the opposite of all this. How then can you say there is no religious life among them? 3. Samataya. You maintain the thesis in the affirmative, and yet you deny that devas practice renouncing the world, the tonsure, wearing the yellow robes, carrying the beggar's bowl. You deny that either a supremely awakened one, or those enlightened for self only, or the pair of chief disciples, appear among the devas. Where then is their religious life? 4-7. Theravada. We agree that among the gods these practices and advents are not found. But is the religious life found only where these things are observed, the renunciation, the tonsure and the rest, and not where they are not observed? Only there, you say. And yet when I ask, does he who renounces the world, and so forth, lead the religious life, and does he who does not renounce the world, etc., not lead the religious life, you do not agree. 8. Again, do you maintain that only where Buddhas arises their religious life, and that where they do not arise, there is none? You vacillate in your reply. Now the Exalted One was born in Lumbini, became supremely enlightened at the foot of the Bodhi tree, and set turning the norm wheel at Benares. Is the religious life to be observed in those places only and not elsewhere? 9. I ask a similar question with regard to the middle country, where there have been advents of those awakened for self alone, and with regard to the Magadhis, where there was the advent of a chief pair of disciples. 11. Samataya. You claim that the religious life is practiced among devas, yet you deny that it is universally practiced, for instance, among the devas of the unconscious sphere. Theravada. This is only what we should both claim and deny for mankind. For instance, that whereas the religious life is practiced among men, it is not practiced among the untutored barbarians of the border countries, where there is no rebirth of such as become religieux of either sex, or of believing laymen and laywomen. 12. Samataya. You say with respect to the religious life in Deva worlds, there are spheres where it exists, there are other spheres where it does not. Are both these conditions represented in the unconscious sphere, and both in the worlds of conscious devas? If not, then where does it exist and where does it not exist? Theravada. The religious life exists only among such devas as are conscious.